All right, welcome back. So today we're going to dive into something that honestly feels a lot like a magic trick, but it's pure awesome science. We are going to make an invisible fire extinguisher. And get this, all you're going to need is a few things you've probably got in your kitchen right now. It is way simpler than you think, and trust me, it's incredibly cool. So let's start with a big question. Can you actually put out a fire without touching it? I mean, no water, no blowing on it, nothing? Is that even possible? Well, the answer is a huge yes, and I'm about to show you exactly how it's done. So our goal here is to basically create and control an invisible force. Yeah, you heard that right. We're going to generate a gas that you can't even see. And then, get this, we're going to pour it, just like you'd pour water, to put out a flame from a distance. It sounds totally impossible, I know, but stick with me. Let's do this. And you know what the best part is? You don't need some fancy, high-tech lab to pull this off. Nope. Everything we need is probably sitting in your kitchen cabinets right now. So let's go grab a few super simple things and turn our kitchen into a laboratory.
All right, here's our shopping list, except you probably don't have to go shopping. We need some vinegar, some bicarbonate of soda, you probably call it baking soda, a large glass, a small glass, a regular old teaspoon, and a candle. That's literally it. See? Super simple.
Okay, got all your stuff? Awesome. Now it's time to get to the really good part. We are about to kick off a chemical reaction that's going to create our secret weapon, this invisible gas. This is where the magic, the science, really begins. Okay, first things first, go ahead and carefully light your candle and make sure it's in a safe spot. Next, you're going to pour about 100 milliliters of vinegar into that large glass. That vinegar has something in it called ethanoic acid, and that's the key ingredient for what's about to happen. Whoa, hang on a second. Before we go any further, let's have a quick but really important safety chat. Remember, a lit candle is, well, it's a fire. So please, make sure you've got an adult with you for this. Safety first, okay? Always. All right, safety check complete. We've got our candle lit, our vinegar is poured. Are you ready? Because what we're about to do next is the spark that starts the whole reaction. This is the moment. Okay, grab that teaspoon of baking soda and just drop it right into the vinegar. Watch what happens. It's going to fizz and bubble and foam up like crazy, right? Well, those bubbles are exactly what we're looking for. You are literally creating that invisible gas right now. So, the reaction is done. That glass is now full of something you can't even see. And that little candle flame has no idea what's about to happen. It's time. Time for the grand finale. Let's do the impossible. Now, you gotta do this part carefully. Pick up the big glass, but don't tip it so much that the vinegar spills out. Just tilt it gently, kind of over the candle, almost like you're pouring a drink you can't see, because that's exactly what you're doing, pouring that invisible gas right onto the flame. And poof, the flame just goes out. How cool is that? It looks 100% like a magic trick, but it's just really, really awesome science. So, what in the world just happened? Let's break down the science behind the magic. So that invisible fire extinguisher you just made? That's a gas called carbon dioxide, or CO2 for short. And you've seen it before. It's the exact same stuff that makes your soda fizzy. And it turns out it's so good at smothering fires that they actually use it in some real-deal commercial fire extinguishers. Okay, so what's super interesting is how CO2 works. Unlike the regular air all around us, carbon dioxide is actually heavier. And that one little fact is the whole secret. Because it's heavier, it sinks. That means you can literally pour it. So when you tilted that glass, the heavy CO2 poured out, sank down onto the candle, and basically just pushed all the lighter oxygen out of the way. And a fire needs oxygen to burn. And it all boils down to a pretty simple chemical reaction. You took vinegar, its sciencey name is ethanoic acid, and you mixed it with baking soda, which is sodium bicarbonate. And when those two things get together, boom, they create carbon dioxide gas. So let's just recap the whole thing, step by step. First, your reaction made that carbon dioxide gas. Second, because that gas is heavier than air, it just sat there at the bottom of the glass. Then, when you poured it, that heavy gas flowed down and landed right on the candle, kind of like an invisible blanket. And that blanket completely smothered the flame, cutting off its oxygen supply. And without oxygen, you get no fire. It's really as simple as that. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. You just took two super common things from your kitchen. You created a chemical reaction, and you used an invisible force that you made yourself to control fire. How cool is that? That's some serious science power you've just unlocked.
So that kind of leaves us with a final big thought to chew on. We just saw how a totally invisible but really powerful gas can be made and even controlled. It really makes you wonder, right? What other invisible forces are out there all around us every single day? Things like gravity or magnetism, they're all just waiting for us to explore.